With more on Ireland's growth prospects, we welcome to the program the Irish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Michael Martin. Prior to his current position, he served as the Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment from 2004 to 2008. Minister Martin is in Washington today. He held a joint press conference yesterday with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Mr. Minister, we're so glad to have you with us. It's St. Patrick's Day. Everyone wants to be Irish today. But lately, the press, the bond market has treated Ireland, thrown it into the same basket as Greece, Portugal, and Spain. Is this fair? To what extent does the Irish government have a PR problem?
Well, I think we've improved the situation fairly dramatically in the last 12 months. We certainly had a very challenging situation this time last year. But you know, the tiger is a resilient animal, and we're quite hopeful in terms of the future. And I think it's fair to say that the very tough fiscal measures that we have taken in terms of the cutting of public service pay, welfare payments, have, I think, reassured the international markets and community that Ireland and the Irish political system has the capacity to come out of this recession. And I think we've been active, and we have developed three broad fronts. One, the public finances will be corrected, set targets over the next number of years to bring it back to 3%. We've established a National Asset Management Agency to deal with the banking situation. And the third pillar is the development of the enterprise economy to ensure that economic growth in the future will be based on exports, on new products and services that can provide solutions to the world economy.
Now, one part we know of cutting the deficit, one part of the government's plan seems to be cutting back government workers' pay. But now it seems the government has reopened talks with the unions. What if wages go higher? What does that mean for investors?
No, we're very clear that the talks that are commencing will not undermine in any way the budgetary strategy that has been determined. We have taken those budgetary decisions. The legislature in Ireland has actually passed into law those measures, and that happened over 3 months ago. So we're in a new situation now, and obviously in terms of the transformation of the public service, in terms of new practices and so on, I think it's desirable to have a talks process, because remember, in the heyday of the Celtic Tiger itself, we had a very effective social partnership framework. So, but be very clear, the budgetary strategy as set out will continue. We're absolutely determined to correct the public finances. We have demonstrated that, I would say, before any other country in Europe, in terms of the very quick measures we have taken over the last 18 months. So, for example, in terms of levying public servants on pension contributions and public service pay cuts, you're looking at 15% of a reduction on average public sector pay and 25% on the higher income earners. These are very significant decisions born out of necessity and a desire to get the deficit cut very quickly.
We only have about a minute left. We know the government auctioned about $1.5 billion worth of bonds yesterday. Auctions oversubscribed. Does this show that Ireland has turned a corner? $20 billion in debt issuance this year, is that still the right target?
Yeah, we believe we've turned a corner, and in fact, we're looking for a resumption of economic growth in the latter half of 2010. And many of our what I would call the modern part of the economy, pharmaceuticals, technology companies, have proved quite resilient during this recession. As you correctly said, the main challenges were in the banking area and indeed in construction. But in the modern part of the economy, the multinational companies that are located in terms of IBM, in terms of Facebook, in terms of McAfee, HP, Intel, Microsoft, and all of those, they continue to invest in Ireland because of the low corporate tax rate of 12.5%. And on the other side of the coin, over 70 companies are with the Taoiseach, the Prime Minister, and myself this week in the West Coast and in Washington. Ireland now is the 13th largest investor in the US, and Irish companies are investing hugely here.
Mr. Minister, we thank you so much for your time.